Hello, my name is Aaron Marks, and this is my video explaining why I'd like to become a mentor at ESM Prep. Um, I've worked with youth mostly around the ages of 12, 13, and up, all the way to college age, in several different contexts. I've taught at the high school level at a private high school in the Bay Area. And I've also been a youth mentor for a community, mostly Hispanic community in San Mateo, California. And I've also taught undergraduate classes, both when I was a graduate student and later on at some colleges in the Bay Area. I came from a background where my cousins, my family, everyone except my mom, hadn't had the opportunity to go to college. My father had just a high school diploma. My mom only got her degrees later in life by working really hard, working multiple jobs, and going to school. And she eventually got her master's degree when I was a kid. And since then, with the communities I've grown up in, among friends when I was growing up, and then again among the students that I've worked with later on, I've seen how detrimental it can be to not have access to education. I've seen people end up in very precarious circumstances because they just didn't have the opportunity to get into college or get into any sort of higher education or training in order to get better jobs, higher paying jobs, and how that created so much misery, so much stagnation in their life. So I'm really dedicated to helping as many students as possible get past those barriers. And not only for their own lives, but also because our society benefits from having as many people having access to education as possible. So many of the problems in our community in the US and in lots of countries around the world arise because of just a lack of an access to education. Without the skills necessary to have a productive career, have a productive job, and also to really skills around thinking critically, examining situations, analyzing facts, data, understanding the world, understanding people from other cultures, from other countries, other backgrounds. The lack of all that has created a lot of harm in our societies in every part of the world. So that's something that I've dedicated myself to in my own professional career as a linguist. I work with indigenous communities in the US on language revitalization. These are communities where they've gone through, in the past, very terrible assimilationist policies that stripped them of their language and their culture, and have created communities where there's very little access to any sort of education or access to escaping poverty. And that's not unique at all to indigenous people in the US. That has happened in Latin America, that's happened in Asia and Africa. I've also lived in Latin America. I've seen that firsthand in Bolivia and in some other countries I've visited, like Mexico and Guatemala. Just everywhere, this common problem of lack of access to education. So that's something I'm very, very passionate about. And also just working directly with students. I've had such rewarding experiences working with middle school kids, high school kids, especially in those ages where they're developing their attitudes about the world, developing their expectations about what life can offer them. And they're receiving guidance from their families, receiving guidance from people in their lives, including their teachers, and they're starting to be able to think for themselves and assess reality for themselves, investigate reality for themselves. So it's a really crucial time, and it's challenging, but it's even more rewarding than working with adult college students, which I've also loved. But getting to help kids at this crucial stage is so important. And especially in cases where kids are having personal challenges with home life, family life, with peers, maybe some who are neurodivergent, who have other sort of different abilities. they're also feeling maybe isolated, left behind, and that's something that I've addressed and striven to address many times working with the kids that I've worked with. So I'm really excited for the opportunity to do that with your organization. So and to continue to help the kids in the area where I grew up, which is the San Francisco Bay Area. I grew up in Marin County and in San Francisco itself. Um, and even though I was lucky to have a lot of opportunities afforded from my parents, especially my mom, again, I've met so many people my age, my peers from back then, who weren't so lucky, peers and people in my own family. So I'm really dedicated to giving back. I really want to help as many students as I possibly can. Um, Another dimension would be there's still quite a bit of systemic discrimination in our country. So I've worked with students from minority backgrounds and seen how much more effort they've had to put into things just from based on their identity, based on who they are, and the experience that their families have gone through, especially immigrant communities to the U.S. and indigenous people, as I mentioned earlier. So that's it. I'm really excited to have this opportunity, and I love teaching as well and tutoring. I'm a huge language nerd, so I'm gonna really enjoy helping kids with Spanish and with any other languages that the organization offers. So that's it. I hope you consider me, and talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.